My name is Daniel Bussius, and I've got Corey Thomas, the founder of PicSnippets, with us today. Corey, welcome, and thank you for taking some time with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So Corey and his brand PicSnippets is featured in my annual Tools the Pros Use. It's a feature and it's an integration with Infusionsoft that I personally use in my business, and it's also something that I recommend to all my clients. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do, incredibly easy using your integration with Infusionsoft. So I figured, why not, instead of me trying to showcase all that I can do, is steal a little bit of your time, and then if you would be so kind to show us the power and the features that PicSnippets offers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm much more of a, you have the sales leaders in a company and a product, so sales CEO or product CEO. I'm much more the product person. So I'm not huge on selling, but I love to get in and make products that people enjoy and like to use. And so I always love doing a demo and happy to do that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited. I know when I came across your product, I thought it was pretty darn amazing. I was astonished literally at how easy it was to get this thing to actually just go. I mean, within like less than 5 minutes, I was up and running, and I had it built right into my funnel, which is incredibly cool. So I'm excited to basically have you showcase this and have the honor of the guy who created this with us.
Awesome. Thanks. Well, yeah, let me kind of jump in. And, I've done a lot of funnel building. That's kind of my background. I used to work at Infusionsoft back in the early days, and, was a kind of a founding employee at 6th Division, which is a big kind of consulting company. And so I've been in this, automation space for over a decade now. And, I've gotten the privilege to work with a lot of great people, so obviously, Clayton Mask and Scott and Eric Martineau over at Infusionsoft and that whole team, and Brad Martineau and Dave Lee and Ryan Chapman from Fix Your Funnel, Bryce, who I believe you've had on here from Plus This, that whole team, work with them. So, and then in addition to like Frank Kern and Michael Gerber and just some awesome people who really know what they're doing when it comes to marketing automation. And so, when I'm going about, a tool or something in terms of when I'm trying to make the funnel building easier or the process to use the experience better, for me, it's a lot about that, the ease of use. It's nice if it's cool and it works, but it's even better if somebody can, in the flow of the moment while they're building something, have an idea and go from idea to having that thing live and in their funnel, 5 minutes. It just makes the probability of them actually using it, just go so much more exponentially higher. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's good to note, because I think pretty much anyone who's watching this knows that Clayton Mask is the CEO and the co-founder of Infusionsoft. And so if you've worked with the CEO of Infusionsoft, and then also on the other end of the spectrum, celebrities like Frank Kern and Michael Gerber, I mean, that's really impressive. I know, at least from, from my perspective, when I saw the feature and I became aware of it, it was through Frank Kern, which got a lot of publicity. Everyone was wondering, how in the world is he doing this feature? And then slowly, doing some homework and digging around, found out that it was your product that did it. So I'm sure a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people that have gone through Frank Kern's funnel are seeing actually your product in operation, in action.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, because that was really the first PicSnippet to get used in a big marketing campaign. And so I had the idea, and funnily enough, I had the idea for PicSnippet, these kind of dynamic, personalized marketing images, from an email I got from Xbox. And they had sent me something that I thought was a personalized image, and it literally was just coincidence. But I was like, I wonder if you could do something like that. So I started playing around and kind of a hobbyist developer. And so I kind of made a proof of concept. I was like, found you could actually do something. So I was talking to some people that I know who kind of, in the marketing automation space. I'm trying to explain it, and they're like, I don't really get it. That sounds cool, I guess, but like, I don't know what you would use it for. And so this was kind of in the early days of 6th Division as well. And so I got everybody together and I said, just shut up. We're going to take a picture. Brad, hold this piece of paper, and I don't care if you don't understand it. We're just going to do this thing. And so, we did a pick snippet. And so we put that into our funnel for new members, and it was just kind of a welcome to the family kind of thing. And it was an email that we kind of, let's be honest, when we sign up for something, you get an email a couple days later, just like, hey, thanks, we're glad to have you on board. Like, you don't really read that. If you do, you just kind of skim it and you're like, whatever. So we threw a pick snippet in there, right? So 2 days after they signed up, they got a pick snippet, and there was this picture of the whole team kind of, all excited and, kind of goofy. And it had, a poster in the middle that said, welcome, and then, their first name in it. And, that email went from being ignored virtually, a 15 and 20% open rate, to us getting about a 70 to 80% reply rate on that email. Not an open rate, a reply rate, where people were, and we didn't ask them to reply. Yeah. People were just replying because they were just super excited. And they were like, oh my gosh, this is why I signed up with your company. This is going to be great. I love what you guys are about. And so we had kind of tested it internally. And I'd worked with Frank in the past. I had a buddy, Brett Martineau, who was working with Frank at his company at the time. And so I was on a call with Brett, and I was trying to show him. And so I showed him the picture, and he was like, oh, and he was one of the people I was trying to explain it to. And it's one of those things where, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And sure enough, right, seeing the pick snippet kind of, really kind of jarred some ideas loose. And so Frank was there in the office, and he was like, let me grab Frank. So, we come in, and so I do a little, it's on a little webcam like this on Google Hangouts, is what we were using. So I show it to Frank, and he gets out his black Amex card, and he starts putting it up into the webcam, and he's like, take my money. How do I do this? And so we had never done a pick snippet, and it's part of a marketing play really or anything like that. So we kind of made a deal that he'd share some of his data with me in terms of how well it worked, and I would do 2 pick snippets. And so that pick snippet that you saw of Frank, on the whiteboard, right? And it's like marketing blueprint for Daniel, that was really the first, pick snippet. And like, Facebook groups and forums were blowing up, and, people were calling our offices and being like, do you know how we did this? Not knowing that it was me who did it.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of blew up, and the tool wasn't ready. I was creating those by hand, and for people back then. So that was kind of the concept was, okay, there is a market for this, and people respond well to it, and it works. So let's get a tool created, so that way, instead of having a developer have to do this, we can just make it really easy where somebody can just upload their own image or just use a template image, customize it, and get it sent to their list or put it into their automation or their funnel, in just a few minutes. So that's kind of the backstory of how it all came about. So it's funny I hear that a lot from people who are like, the first time I saw it was from Frank Kern,
Yeah. It's cool. I even wrote a dedicated blog post walking through how to use PicSnippet, because I had so many clients asking about ways to basically engage their email list more effectively. And it's like, yes, you can make the font bigger and have more white space or do this or do that. But more simply put, is if we use something like this, the engagement rate significantly increases. And so I love the fact that we have the opportunity now for you to kind of give us a test drive of it, because even me it's difficult to explain. It's like, well, you can have a custom image and you can dynamically add the text with a username and anything else like over that image. And so it's a really simple and brilliant idea, but sometimes it gets hard to convey the power of what it is. And people like, I don't understand what you're saying. So can we see this thing in action?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Like you said, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and it's a very visual tool. So this is just kind of the dashboard, and this is my demo account. So it's kind of messy because I just am in here playing around all the time. But we just clicked and created a new pick snippet. And so you'll see these are images that I've uploaded in the past. And then you can upload a new image that you want that's just custom. Take it with your phone, take it with whatever, you and your team. Or you can use one of our templates. We have a template library. So if you feel like, well, I'm not very creative, or I want to get something out and I don't have time to, go and get a picture done, then no problem. Just, grab one of our templates and, use that. So For
I've used your picture frame before, and I have it still in one of my emails. Is I was in a rush and I'm like, I don't have time to take a photo. Obviously, I did later when I had time, but I used that and it worked brilliantly.
Yeah, and we're adding new images in here and getting suggestions all the time where people are like, hey, I want to do something like this, but I don't have, a setup for that or whatever. Is there a way to get a picture like that? So we're always looking to add templates. Our goal is to make it as easy as possible for you guys to engage with your customers, in a personal and creative way. And so,
Yeah.
That's cool to hear that you're using the picture frame well.
Yeah, and I know you're gonna cover this, so I don't want to steal your thunder here. But the fact that you have like a book and you have like notepads and you have all these different things gives the ability for basically to change the font and change the kind of style of the communication or the image. And I don't want to say any more because I know you're going to show that. But since we're looking at these images, it's pretty cool to bring that up.
Yeah. We'll get into that, but yeah, when we say, you can personalize an image, we really mean personalize it. So it isn't, kind of a one size fits all and, always the same kind of look or feel. They're all can be kind of done specific to that situation. So let's see, we'll go ahead and use the Skywriting here, the airplane banner. It's, an easy one to use and kind of show. My favorite, if I can plug my favorite one, it rarely gets used, but it's my favorite. It's the little notepad, that's kind of diagonal. And so using that for like in a sales process where you actually have a sales team where they can have, where it looks like they've got a to-do list and people's names on it, I think is super compelling. So rarely gets used. So hopefully maybe by me bringing that one up, maybe more people will use it.
I love it. I'm going to use it.
So that's it. You just pick the image and now you're right in the editor. You can name this pick snippet. So, I could call it, test for Daniel, whatever you want to call it. That's just for you. But then you just add snippets. You add snippets to the picture, hence pick snippets, right? Pretty creative.
Yeah.
You can drag and drop these. It's just a very easy drag and drop editor. So if I wanted to say, maybe it's for a sale that I'm running, a limited time offer, and I wanted to say hurry, and I can, center that font. And again, I can drag and drop this box, and that font is fine, but it's not great for this. So we can, pick a font. And this is Google Fonts. So over 800 different fonts that you can choose from. And the majority of web platforms will use Google Fonts. So a lot of times if you're making an image in Canva or something like that, you can use the same font that used in Canva that, as in PicSnippets. So it helps keep continuity. So
yeah, absolutely.
And you can kind of sort them based on, the type that you're looking for, document. So what else is being used in this particular PicSnippet? If we want something that looks handwritten. But in this case, let's just go ahead and use permanent marker. This is one of my favorite ones. Actually, no, let's do, let's just use Lato regular. So I can say hurry, and then I can add, more stuff in here, but let's go ahead and add another snippet in now. You can add as many snippets to an image as you want. I'll position that, and I'll set the font here to be the same as the other, and center it. And I can stretch. This blue box lets me create a bounding box. So this text will always stay inside this blue boundary box. So
that's cool. So if someone's worried that something's going to flow over and then make the image look like it was manufactured by automation,
right,
that's going to solve that problem.
Yep. It creates that intelligent boundary, and you can assign it based on what your backdrop is, your canvas that you're trying to write on. It makes it really easy to make sure that you're not going to have it to where the letters are written into the sky, where it obviously wouldn't make sense.
Right.
So we'll remove this text, and then we can personalize it. So let's say we wanted to say hurry and then their first name. So hurry Daniel or hurry Corey. So we'll click on this add personalization, and we could just leave it param, or if we need to name it something, if we wanted to call it name, and then give it a default value. So let's say if I don't know what their name is, if they got into my CRM and I don't have a first name value or something like that, I can give a default. So that way it's never blank. You don't have to put in one, but if you can. So so here we go. We've got our hurry, and then our variable here for their name, which is going to default to friend in case we don't have it, and then an exclamation point. So that's it. I can add as many snippets as I want. I can add as many personalizations within those snippets as I want. But I've got my pick snippet ready to go. Some other things that you can do that will help in terms of realism is, we can change the font color if we wanted it to be something, red, or, we want it to be kind of a dark color to make it look like black, but kind of a faded black, so it's not, pure black.
Right.
And then this font size, which is important. So, again, we had talked about the boundaries for keeping, the text within that limit. But what happens when it, let's say that somebody's name is, there's an old NFL
or something like big long name.
Yeah, there's an old NFL player named Tashimbiana Biaka Batuka. What if I want to send him an email? And so what this does is this allows me to set a minimum font size. So I have my font size of 40, but I can tell it, you can shrink the font all the way down to 20 or whatever I specify to get their name to fit. And it will intelligently shrink to make sure they stay within that boundary, but still make it as big as possible. And then after that minimum font size, if it still doesn't fit, it'll use the default. So it'll fall back kind of gracefully depending on their name. So that's it. We're done. We hit generate code, and then we pick our platform. So, if you're using ClickFunnels and you want to put it in a ClickFunnels email, that's fine. You can put it, select ClickFunnels and, choose your fields. If you're using Shopify, you run an online store, or custom if you're using some kind of platform, that isn't in here, that's fine as long as you can merge, their info in, and it'll work. So we'll just select Infusionsoft, and then we have an OAuth flow here, so we can just pick our, I don't remember the XL, okay. So we can just pick our Infusionsoft app and connect it. And so now it'll pull back all of our fields from our Infusionsoft app for us to choose from for that name, which is just going to be first name, but it pulls back all of your custom fields, all your standard fields. So, it basically will auto format it for you for use within Infusionsoft.
So this is awesome. So I love the fact that it can integrate with anything. You can pretty much have any platform and PicSnips is going to work. Since we're looking at Infusionsoft as an example, I also love the fact that you have the power of basically pulling any field pretty much, right? So you can say, hurry Bob or hurry Jane. You can also have messages in there that are based off of something in their funnel. So if their pain point, if they said, I need more sales, and that's what their response was, you can actually write that in there, right in there. So it can be, the level of detail and customization is pretty much unlimited.
Yeah, and like I said, you can have as many snippets in one as you want. So going back to the little notepad, right? You could have, if it was a pain point, you could have a little doctor's prescription pad, and say prescription for, and then whatever their pain point is, right? Like lack of leads, and then, prescription is, and then, a consultation or whatever it is. So you can do, really you're limited by your imagination.
Yeah, so you could put, you could dynamically put days that a sale is about to, it's either days that the sale is remaining or that it's about to expire. You can put time in there. You can put pain points. Like we're saying, pretty much anything, and then you can customize that with the image too to mirror how you want to convey that message.
Yeah, and we've gotten some people who've had a lot of success doing, if they ship something physical, where they take a picture of the package with a blank label, and then they make a pick snippet where it merges in their name and their shipping address on the label. So when the order goes out, they get an email that says, hey, your package is in the mail, and it's got a picture of exactly what it's going to look like when it shows up on their doorstep, and so they get a lot of replies like, oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to get it. It also kind of works, which this wasn't really expected, but it worked as a support mechanism. There were a lot of people who were like, oh no, I typed in my old address, or, I typed in, I mistyped it. And so they would, reply back thinking that that was a picture of their actual package. And so we were able to kind of fix it before it went out the door. And so a lot of those people now, it's that email goes out the day before it ships to give them time to respond if there is an issue. So there's a lot of when you really start getting that kind of individual attention into your funnel is when you start creating these types of interactions that just really weren't there before, and in ways that people typically kind of got ignored. But now it's much more of a relationship between you and the user than it was before.
Absolutely. And I know we can cover it in a little bit, but I mean, you can actually use PicSnippets through different parts of the funnel. So you can change the images, change the communication, excuse me. And even what I'm thinking, like just creatively, is if you're a realtor and you have a listing, you could basically picture that listing, and the sign in front of that home could basically say like, Corey's new home. And it's the actual image of the listing, and it's calling out that person. So there's all these really cool things that they can creatively do instead of writing text-heavy emails with big buttons to click to wherever.
Yeah, and I've got some friends who are really into fitness, and they do a great job, in terms of personal training and, weight loss and weight management, all that kind of stuff. And, one that I thought was really clever is they use it as a scale. So they're capturing somebody's ideal weight, what their goal weight is, I should say.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to lose 20 pounds or 50 pounds or whatever it is, and so they're saying, my goal weight is 185 or whatever, they send them an email as an encouragement, and it's a picture of feet on a scale, and the scale, the numbers on the scale read 185, and they're like, you can do this, you're on your way. And, and in terms of just the connection that you're making with that person and kind of helping encourage them right on that journey, it's just so much more powerful than getting an email with, that written out, right, where it just says, you're on your way,
Yeah, I mean, they all say the average human attention span now is at the level or even lower than a goldfish, right? Everybody is image and video centric. So if you're a small business owner and you're doing marketing and you're still relying on text-heavy email, not only are you using an antiquated communication style, but the majority of people are not going to pay attention to it. So an image, like you've already said, is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, you could get across, what you're trying to convey, and they'll feel it more, right?
Yeah.
They'll connect with it more, and it's so, and again, you saw here how easy it is to make one.
Right.
It takes 30 seconds. So I'll copy this link. I've got an Infusionsoft campaign, and I'll open up an email, and it takes, 5 seconds to drop this into an email. All we do, we just grab our image, and we give you the link in case you can use that, or the HTML if you need to use just the full HTML editor. But literally, we can just drag out an image into our email, and then select this custom image URL option, paste that in from PicSnippets, and that's it. So,
and the cool thing, if you click on that now, you can actually, just in the dynamic builder for Infusionsoft, you can scale that, you can link that image, you can put alt text in there, you can pretty much do anything with it.
Yep. And if we hit preview, so we'll just preview this email, we'll see, boom, there we go. It merges in first name.
Yeah.
So literally that easy. All you got to do is copy paste, from the PicSnippets app into Infusionsoft, and you're off to the races. And it works.
I know I was sidetracking you here by just basically engaging with you, because obviously I love your product, but I'm going to put you under the gun here, so I hope you're okay with this.
Okay.
If we can show them, because when I was amazed at, literally within maybe a minute and a half, I had an image ready to be dropped into my marketing campaign, which is pretty much unheard of with any kind of integration with any platform. I was blown away. So can I basically say, hey, can we take a step back, and can you basically recreate this and just show us how fast it can actually be done for any kind of user?
So like just go create a PicSnippet from scratch and put it into Infusionsoft and kind of time it out?
Yeah, we don't even have to time it out, but just show, like, hey, because I know we were kind of breaking up with conversation. If we could just show them, look how fast and easy this is to get done.
Yeah, so let's do this. I'll create one. I'll upload a custom image instead of, using one from, got my buddy Cesar Rodriguez here. So we'll call this Cesar. And hit create. There we go. We've got our image. We'll add our snippet. we'll say, we'll make this more of a welcome, and we'll pick a slightly less black font here. We can also rotate it to kind of match the board here. So we'll hit welcome, and then we'll add another snippet. Add in their first name. Use friend as a default. Use the same font and font color. Rotate that just a bit, and we'll give it as much space here as we can. Make sure it's centered on the board. There we go. We've got our pick snippet where we'll say welcome and then merge in their first name, generate code. Pick Infusionsoft. First name. Copy that.
That's it. That's the code right there.
That's it. We're done. Drag out our email in Infusionsoft. Pick whatever template you want. Drag out my image. Now we're done.
That's it. And that is what blew me away with the cool factor of doing this and how easy and fast it was. So, and
yeah,
I know
this
he's a smart
rehearsed.
marketer. So if he's using your product, then obviously, I mean, he does smart marketing.
Yeah, right. Yes, and this wasn't rehearsed. Like I didn't know that you were gonna, ask me to kind of do one in terms of just full speed, so to speak. And like,
yeah, right.
It's very simple. There's no smoke and mirrors. It's just, and again, you could make it as simple or as complicated as you want. Some people just use it as a text, as an editor where they don't have as much personalization. Some people, they use it where it's just everything's personalized text in it. But, it's super simple to do. And again, it works on just about every platform. It works with not just emails. You can use it on thank you pages. You can use it in text messages. If you're using Plus This or Fix Your Funnel, or the other text platforms, you can use it as a text. And so they'll get a text from you that's personalized, which is super cool. The reaction is always really good. And then we're working on a integration with Facebook Messenger bot. That's pretty popular right now.
Yeah. Wow. That's very cool.
So being able to use that with a very popular service right now. And so that will probably launch, this month or in the next month or so. And so you can use it just about anywhere as long as you know who the person is, on that, because it's a thank you page or it's an email or it's a text or it's a Facebook, chatbot coming soon, then you'll be able to use it just about anywhere that you want.
Yeah. And, what I'm thinking is, sometimes in the middle of a funnel, right, you have a landing page where you want to gather more information or you want to urge them to take the next step, right? Yeah. And so no one's supposed to go to that landing page unless you're already in the funnel. So you should have at least their first name. And even if you don't, you still have a default that can be friend, right? And so you can actually put that on like an Infusionsoft landing page, and through the funnel, they see this image on the landing page and it says, hey, welcome Corey or anything else.
Yeah, I'll kind of show if it's all right. I was working on there's a webinar that's coming out that we're going to be doing. And on the thank you page, once you register, there is a pick snippet that we're using there. So I'll go ahead and just show this real quick. This is kind of so this is using ClickFunnels. So you'll see we generate like a ticket for the webinar for that person. It says seat reserved for, and then, it'll merge in. I just went ahead and put in Daniel, but it'll merge in their name and their email from the registration page, into the ticket that, for that webinar. So
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Easy to use on, to create a really cool experience on a thank you page, or, whether it's from an opt-in or whether it's from an email, right, that you're taking them to, and who they are. Think about, how can I make this more personal? How can I connect more with that person and make them, make it feel more valuable and more high touch? and less like a cold machine where I'm just going through a process trying to get to a specific point.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, if you're a basic user and they come across and they're watching this video, and rightfully so, they'd be pretty wowed by it and amazed. If they got in there and they were using PicSnippets and they ran into an issue, I mean, how do you guys support them if they have a question or they can't figure out something?
Yeah, so first of all, the best support is making an easy product. We work really hard at that. So I monitor all support tickets. Doesn't mean I necessarily answer all support tickets, but I monitor all support tickets to see kind of what, where are people getting caught up in the process, or what are they trying to do, or they can't figure out how to do it. So that way we can make product changes to make it, easier for them in the future or other people in the future. That said, people do run into issues, right? It's, that's just how life is. So we do have, you can click here and go to support, and then we've got integrated ticketing system. So signs you right in, you can create a support ticket with what you're trying to do, and we'll respond, ASAP, usually same day.
That's great.
And then, we also have live chat on our website. That's more for kind of sales and marketing questions. But we have people hit us up who are customers, like, hey, I'm already a customer and I'm trying to do this. And, the team does what they can to, to try and make sure that whether you're just checking it out or you're already a user, that we're going to be as helpful as possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this is awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know I hit you up, and I know you're the founder of PicSnippets. So you're over here, you've got a bunch of stuff going on. Is there anything that I've failed to ask you, or anything that you want to talk about before we wrap up today?
I don't think so. I appreciate you having me on, and I think that it is something that, as people see, it starts to kind of jar some ideas loose in terms of what's possible. And so, yeah, just think about the experience and think about what are some key points that I want to be able to really connect with somebody, whether that's in a welcome sequence or an indoctrination sequence early on, or whether it's a new customer, whether it's part of your sales process or anything like that. I would encourage people to just think about their process and how can I connect better with people, and PicSnippets is an easy and really, affordable tool for helping facilitate that.
Absolutely. What I heard from you is, it sounds like whenever it's important to take the relationship to the next level, or to have a pivot in what they're doing, basically your tool is going to help them do that.
Absolutely. The more that they feel like they're part of the process and not just falling through a process, the better success that everyone's going to have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Corey, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. I'm excited for people to see this. I know I'm a big fan. I use it in my own business. So hopefully if they watch this video, if it's okay with you, I'd love to include PicSnippets, that if they download a PDF that walks them through this guide, that they can actually see PicSnippets live in action.
Absolutely. Yeah. The more the merrier.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corey. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Daniel.